Hello, everyone, and welcome to Friday Night Stories. Today, today's content is going to be different. I'm going to be reacting to a TikTok video, and this is as a way for me to announce to my viewers that going forward, I will not solely be reacting to Reddit stories. I will also, from here on forth, be reacting to YouTube, TikTok, as well as Reddit stories, anything that goes around storytelling or people talking about their stories in general. But today's topic is something that centers around the passport bro movement, or generally anyone that's seeking going outside of their, say, city, their country to another country in search of, say, love or companionship. The reason why I feel strongly or entitled to talk about this kind of topic is because, as someone that comes from an African origin, I feel for the coming video that we're going to react to, it gives me more of a ground for me to react to, because I have not necessarily a bit of an experience, but I understand how these things kind of work a little bit. I also think this may serve as an eye opener for people that think about going outside to seek love, because there are always going to be pros and cons. Just the same thing in life. There is no one thing that is usually perfect, but it's just in a way to kind of enlighten people as to the kind of things that you could potentially encounter when going out to seek love. But anyway, I'll let the video play on.
Why are marriages breaking in America? Why are marriages in the African community, African marriages breaking? Why? When I talk about African marriages, I don't mean black Americans. Black Americans, they are not part of this topic. I'm talking about African migrants who migrated to America or in Europe. Why are their marriages having a high failure rate? Why? And this is my honest opinion and observation. So my first case study is recently, about some few months ago, here in Dallas, in Texas. There is this guy who brought the girlfriend from Cameroon. He's a Cameroonian guy. Him and the girl, they have 2 kids. They are not married. When he usually goes back to Africa, to Cameroon for vacation, they had 2 kids, but they are not yet married. So he decided to bring the girl to America so they could work out life together. And the worst part is, the guy used a Mexico road. That means, you know how Mexico road he spent a lot of money. The guy spent a lot of money. I can say approximately like 10 to 15 million fans to bring this girl to America. And behold, 3 weeks after this girl arrived, this girl had to run away from the house. This girl did not only leave the guy, this girl got this guy arrested after 3 weeks in America. This guy was arrested and jailed for 2 weeks and then later on released, and this girl had to leave. You can imagine the trauma. And this is a trend. Recently again in Maryland, same situation. A guy sponsored a girl from Cameroon with a fiancé visa. That girl reached by the airport. The guy went to the airport to even pick up the girl. The guy could not even see the girl at the airport. They get jackpot instantly. They get disappear for airport. It means that on different part, the man can pick the girl up for airport.
Now, this story sounds very similar to a story my dad used to tell me about some of his friends, that he used to say something. He said when he was young, he and his friends, they all thought they knew what they were doing. They had everything planned out. They thought the direction they were going for, or the things, the plans for marriages, or the way they were planning to get married, they thought that that plan was infallible. They thought they had everything figured out. One of my dad's friends, I know in the US, he married a lady from the village, and because he was, a US citizen or a resident, he decided as an African man to bring his African wife from the village down to Africa, thinking that the African wife is going to be better than, say, the Western woman. Now, I don't know if you know what it is like for African girls in African societies. They do a lot. I mean, really a lot. I was surprised when I went home. Like, these girls, they clean, they wash plates, they wash clothes. It's almost like back when I was in Africa, I didn't necessarily see this kind of thing. You don't necessarily think, even when you as a boy gets out to the veranda, you try to clean the compound and you're cutting the grass with a machete and all these kind of things. You don't necessarily think that you're doing a lot. But after being in the West for a while, and I went back to Africa, I was astonished. I was surprised. Like, you cook the breakfast, the lunch, and the dinner. And I remember my sister did stuff like that. She even cleaned around the house and everything. And I kept telling her, "You're working too much." And what are you saying? This is what I'm supposed to do. This is my job or my role. And I can see why most Africans, once they move to the West, they see what the Western life, what they say the women are in the West. They kind of crave bringing a woman from Africa, because these kind of things you don't necessarily need to teach them. It's ingrained. But for this, my dad's friend, it didn't work out the way he actually thought it would. After a while of his wife moving to the West, I guess she got, in a way, indoctrinated into feminism. And I think after she had a few kids for him, in the next few years, she started bringing her boyfriend into the house. And my dad's friend was saying there's nothing he could do. He would come visit when he is at home. And this is his story. There's no way for me to kind of really confirm this. But he said that his wife even ended up poisoning the kids' minds against him. Like, I know his first son, he still hasn't seen his kids for a while. And he even decided that he would, they got a divorce, but he eventually decided that he would go back again to Nigeria and repeat the same thing. Pick up another girl from the village, because the first one didn't work. The second one probably has to work. I don't know how that one is going right now, but yeah, it sounds pretty similar to some of the stories I've heard.
So this is what I want to talk about. So marriages are failing, and the ones that are failing are the ones that one of the spouse is imported. When I say imported, it means one of the spouse is imported from Africa or from somewhere else and brought to America or to Europe. Those ones are failing because we think that the best girls or the best husbands are from Africa. No. There are good women in America. There are good men in America. There are good men in Europe. There are good women in Europe. Why do you have to go through all the stress to go and import someone from Africa to bring to Europe to marry? The chances are 50-50. 50-50 that the person you're bringing is going to be good to you, because 90% of those spouses or those girlfriends or boyfriends you have in Africa, their main objective is to jackpot. They just want to leave Africa. So they're going to be good to you. Whatever you say, they're going to do it. They're going to be nice to you. You're going to see them as angels. And once they succeed reaching here, their destination, America or Europe, they will leave you, they will run away. And that is what is happening. The trend is wide now. The women are leaving the men, men are leaving the women. It's happening. There are good women in America, there are good men in America, there are good women in Europe, there are good men in Europe. The angel you know beside you, the devil you know beside you is better than the angel far away. The devil you know beside you is better than the angel far away. Look for your own demon beside you. Buy your Tylenol. Look for your holy water. Be pouring it on them. Be drinking your Tylenol for headache. And you can have a peaceful life. If you bring from Africa, it's disastrous. I'm not saying that it doesn't work out. Some work out. But 90% of it is disastrous. 90% is disastrous. So look for a woman. Look for a woman where you are. Look for a husband where you are. Stop this trend of going to Africa to look for women and bringing them to America. My dear, you are just looking for a death wish.
I've been around Twitter for a while, and you get to actually see, especially if you're around African or Nigerian Twitter, you're going to see a lot of examples of this where a man, say, he sponsors his wife and pays the tuition for school. I see certain cases, especially in the UK, where after she graduates, she begins to move differently. And in this one occasion I saw, she kicked the man out of the house, and the man was like, kicking me out of my own house after I put you through school, after I did this for you, those kind of things. It was going on for a while, and he said he was going to leave, and he left. And I've also heard occasions too of where the guys actually do the same thing for, maybe the guy is abroad and he takes care of the girl, pays for her fees while she goes to Nigerian university, he pays for her fees, and eventually when she comes here, she decides to move differently. So I've seen cases like that, and for me, when I look at cases like this, I'm not necessarily surprised, because it reminds me of when I was really in need of a job. At the time, I was desperately in need of a job. I needed something, and it was like, at that point in time, it's like, anybody, if you can offer me anything, I would do anything. Like, there are levels I wasn't willing to go, but I was willing to go far and beyond, is what I was trying to say. And let me say, if I was supposed to work 8 hours and they wanted me to work like 16 hours for just minimum, maybe below minimum, I was willing to do it. And eventually, after you get a job, you start thinking to yourself, I can actually do better than this. I already have more work experience. No, I want to find something more fulfilling. And for me, that kind of reminds me of when you're going to bring a spouse, say from a different country, that maybe like an impoverished country. The thing is, for them, there's like a high mortality rate, there's a high death rate, there's no like good healthcare, people are starving, there's no much job security. So in those kind of cases, those people are like people that are saying, for anything, I will do your job, I will do anything, and eventually what happens is, when you land them, they start to, eventually, after they get accustomed to how things run and how things are in the country, they start to seek greener pastures. They start to seek the next thing that's going to make them more euphoric, because they then realize, I just settled for this person or something. Now I can reach higher heights, per se. So anyway, the long story short here is, if you're going to go abroad to look for love or seek a partner, you have to be really careful and move wisely. Yeah, but anyway, that's it for me.